Station 91, Paulo, let's go. Today we're going to talk about alcohol and the effects it has on the spirit. So I wrote some notes here of the origin of the word. So it has French origins, alcool, A-L-C-O-O-L, Arabic origins, alcool, A-L-K-U-H-L, and then medieval Latin makes it alcohol in the mid-16th century. Alcohol is also known as spirit. Oxford Dictionary describes spirits as strongly distilled and processed liquor such as gin, rum, or whiskey. The Merriam-Webster edition provides a more scientific definition by describing it as the liquid containing ethanol and water that is distilled from an alcoholic liquor or mash, often used in plural. Liquor is a base alcohol that has the water physically taken out through the process of distillation, which increases the alcohol concentration through evaporation. So I guess it takes out the water, condenses it more. Yeah, the alcohol is condensed down. In other words, the spirit of the liquor is leaving the lower alcohol-based liquid, then coming back down in pure form to drink. So we're drinking the spirit of fermented fermented liquid. So I guess the conspiracy in this is how it affects our spirits, right? It's weird, first of all, that they call it spirit. I tried finding out why do they actually call it spirit? And there's really no answer for it. They really don't know. It says here that alcohol, the Arabic version, the Arabic word from which alcohol is derived, in its Arabic translation, alcohol means body-eating spirit. When we consume high amounts of alcohol, we are in effect extracting the soul essence out of our body. The environment becomes so polluted and so toxic that our true spirit has no choice but to leave until the conditions are better, allowing the other entities of lower vibration frequencies to take us out for a spin. So if you ever see someone blackout drunk, it's really not them. I've heard this theory before. You get blackout drunk, and so it allows other lower frequencies to enter your body. This is someone experienced right here. I found it on the internet. He was transported as an observer above a popular bar at nightclub above the venue where a variety of ghoul-like entities inside the bar where people were drinking and socializing, dancing, and so on. I watched as certain people became very drunk. I saw their souls, while connected through a thread, exited the body. I understood that the soul was leaving the body because of the great discomfort of being a body highly intoxicated with alcohol. When the soul exited the body, other non-benevolent entities entered or latched into their vacant shells. Once the entities took a hold of the body, they used it to play in all kinds of dark acts, such as violence, low-level sexual encounters, destructive behaviors, rape, and more. And you see this. A lot of people get drunk and they become completely different people than who they are when they're sober. And we don't really know the explanation of that. We see everything through the skin. We don't know what's going on spiritually. And it could be this. It could be, your body gets so polluted, your spirit leaves it, and other entities enter it. We've all been blackout drunk. I've been blackout drunk when I was younger, and I seriously don't remember it. I would wake up and not know what happened. People would describe me in a way that I could never see myself sober. So what does the Bible say about it? Well, 1 Peter 5:8 says, be sober-minded, be watchful. Your adversary, the devil, prowls around like a roaring lion, seeking someone to devour. The Bible talks a lot about drunkards and not to get too drunk. Well, I think also drugs in general makes us see things from other realms. I remember on the Joe Rogan podcast, he had Alex Jones on. And now I don't agree with everything that Alex says, but I do agree with a lot he says. And he says something interesting in this podcast. I think it was the most recent one with Eddie Bravo in it. I think it was Tim Dillon. He said that whenever we encounter spirits, when we're high on drugs or anything like that, they're bad. They're not good. You can only encounter good spirits through the natural process of death. Get it? So whatever we're talking, so if I took drugs right now and I started communicating with something, even though it seems good, it could be bad. It's probably bad. I believe in that. I believe now that that when you die and go to heaven or wherever you go, then you encounter the truth. whatever you're seeing under the influence of drugs, it may seem like it's good, but it's probably bad. Remember, the devil can disguise himself as an angel still. So, I actually had an interesting experience when I did mushrooms when I was like in my sophomore year of high school. I did mushrooms for the first time, and I did it with a group of guys that I shouldn't have done it with. I was young, and I remember I was in the car. They were listening to really loud music, and I was really high. I wanted to jump out of the car, and I held it together. And the kid in the front seat, that was a good friend of mine at the time, he looked back at me. He looked back at me to make sure I was okay. But when he looked at me, his face morphed, like, because he was smiling, like, hey, are you okay? His face morphed into like a demon, like a weird creature. And I was so close to jumping out of that car, but I held it in. But come to find out, a year or so later, that person was a really bad person in my life. He was a pretty evil kid. And so drugs are crazy. Maybe they make you see things that are hidden in other dimensions. I don't know. But I started with this whole alcohol thing because the other day I never really drink at home, but we had this hurricane in Florida, so I made myself a drink, and my wife wasn't feeling good. She was in the room, so it was just me alone in the living room hanging out, and I had a couple of drinks, maybe a little too much tequila, and I felt so heavy. I didn't feel good. I wasn't socially drinking, I wasn't out having fun and celebrating something. I was just drinking at home while there's a hurricane going on, and my spirit just felt so heavy. So I just pulled all of this up, and I got all of this, and I wanted to share with you guys. I think it's pretty interesting, it being called spirit, the origins. A lot of people say, oh, no, it doesn't originate from Arabic, but, it's on Google. Google lies, but it's pretty interesting. So, yeah, alcohol's effect on the spirit. If you have any stories, any comments on this, please leave it in the comment section. Let's talk about it, start a little dialogue. And I appreciate you guys, all the new subscribers. Thank you so much. And we'll keep it going. Like I say, see you later.